I can't smell.
It's burning.
Hey, yo, Allie.
Hey.
Please get involved. We all need to be deeply involved in this selection. Like it says in the motto, everyone knows who've got them. And I think that the best way that we can win this election, and we will win this election.
Are you talking to me?
And I'm feeling the burn. Oh, thank you very much. This is a large crowd, a raucous crowd. People outside who couldn't get in. What this campaign is about is asking people to think outside of the box, to challenge the status quo, and to understand that the status quo, what we live with today, does not have to continue existing. We can change it. Which is a whole other issue. The role of corporate media in today's society. And the issue there is that you and the American people have got to deal with the real issues. You have got to determine what the issues are, not CNN or ABC. We would have a certain type of discussion. We'd say, yeah, you know what? We would like everybody to have a good education, everybody to have health care. We'd like to have a strong infrastructure, but we are a poor country. We just can't do it. We are not a poor country.
When they announce they're going to
So we're going to set up the smartest Trump. We are going to be so good. We're going to be all over the world. They're going to be talking about the miracle of the United States. Because we're going down now, folks. We're going in the wrong direction. We're sitting on a massive bubble. And when it pops, it's going to be horrible and it's going to be ugly. China. We have a trade deficit with China of over $500 billion a year. We have rebuilt China. We have a trade deficit with Mexico of $58 billion a year. And then these politicians that don't know what they're doing, they have no clue. They said to me at one of the debates, one of them, I won't even embarrass him, he came up, you can't get Mexico to pay for the wall. How do you do that? I said, do you know we have a trade deficit of $58 billion? The wall is going to cost $10 billion. $58 billion is every single year. And that doesn't include the drugs that are pouring into our country, poisoning our youth. They're poisoned with this drug. Border Patrol people last week just endorsed me because they said Trump is the best on the border they've ever seen. 15,000 incredible Border Patrol who can do their job, but they're told to stand back, let people pour into our country. We are going to stop that so fast, even before we start the wall, it's going to stop. Believe me. Sheriff Joe Arpaio, you know Joe. We love Joe. From Arizona, he endorsed Donald Trump. There's nobody better or tougher or smarter on the border. And he endorsed Trump. So look, we're going to have strong borders. We're going to bring our country back. You can't have a country unless you have borders. And we don't have borders. So let me just tell you something. We're going to build a wall, the likes of which you've never seen before. People won't be driving their pickup trucks through the wall or over the wall. Did you ever see that? The trucks go over, they unload the drugs, and then they go back. So we get the drugs and they get the money. Not very good, folks. That's going to all change, and it's going to change so fast. Did you see the Mexican president, the former Mexican president? Did you see that? Who said that? Who said that? So he said there is no way that we want to pay the lead. Then he used the F-bomb, right? Can you imagine if I used the F-bomb, what would have happened? Nobody would talk about it. But we've made progress because 2 years ago, he used to say, there's no way we're going to build a wall. Now he just says, there's no way we're going to pay for the wall. Trust me, they're going to pay for the wall, folks. They're going to pay for the wall.
Heading to the Vatican. Pope Francis, to my mind, has been an incredible leader in talking about massive levels of income and wealth inequality all over the world. Talking about outrageous levels of youth unemployment, of youth poverty, talking about what happens to older people who are isolated and alone and don't have the money they need to live with dignity. And I applaud the Pope for speaking out on those issues. a moral economy. An economy that addresses human needs, not just the greed of the people on top. Let me be very clear and tell the billionaire class in this country, their days when they get it all are going to end. We are going to create an economy that works for all of us, not just the 1%. But it's not just the corrupt campaign finance system that we have to address. It is not just a rigged economy. It is also a broken criminal justice system. What this campaign is asking the American people is to think outside of the box, think outside of the status quo. And here is an example. I want you all to ask yourselves why the United States today has more people in jail than any other country on earth. We are spending $80 billion a year to lock up 2.2 million Americans, disproportionately African American, Latino, and Native American.
So we have the Gulf states do it. But did you ever see the migration that comes in and you see all of the cell phones? Where did they get cell phones? And you see the symbols on the cell phones. You know what the symbols are, right? Many, many very terrible symbols. And the ISIS flag is a symbol on many. And we take these people. How stupid are we, folks? How stupid? How long is it going to take before we figure it out? We can't let it happen anymore. Just like Albany, just like this state that I love, just like I look at what's going on, I see the jobs just fleeing, but they're fleeing the whole country. But actually, New York State is probably hit just about the worst in the whole United States. Do you remember when they wanted me to run for governor? And I said, I'll run, but I'm going to take care of New York State. And I said, but I don't want to go through primaries, because if I go through a primary, oh, look at that. Oh, there we have one. Go ahead. Yeah, get him out of here. Get him out. See, he stands there smiling because he knows nobody's going to touch him. You know, he's protected, right? All right, don't hurt him, but get him out. Get him out. Get him out. These guys are standing there taunting all of us, folks. They stand there and they taunt us all. What a shame. And then the dishonest media will say, oh, Trump was very, very tough. He was so tough. He raised his voice. He's allowed to scream. He's allowed to throw punches. But if we do anything, it's like the worst thing I've ever seen. The worst. You know the truth, because they like to make a big deal. Our rallies are among the most safe rallies you could ever attend, because we protect each other, and they're the most safe rallies you'll ever see. Now get them out. Get them out.
It is not good enough to be talking about first grade through 12th grade. That was a great idea 50 years ago. But today, when we talk about public education, it must include making public colleges and universities tuition free. suffering under very high levels of student debt. And that is why I believe that people with student debt should be able to refinance those loans at the lowest interest rates they can. Say, you know, Bernie, you're Santa Claus, you're coming up with all these free things. How are you going to pay for free tuition in public colleges and universities and lowering student debt? And I'll tell you how. I will tell you how we do it. But this is thinking outside the box. After Wall Street, through their greed and illegal behavior, helped destroy our economy, they went to Congress and they asked and got a bailout. Now, I believe that today it is totally appropriate to impose a tax on Wall Street speculation. Which will bring in more than enough money to make public colleges and universities tuition-free and substantially lower student debt. This campaign is listening to the African American community. In this campaign, my eyes have been opened. I have traveled all over this country. A couple of months ago, I was in Flint, Michigan, talking to parents who told me something that was hard for me to believe was happening in America. They were describing how the cognitive capabilities of their children were being destroyed by lead in the water in that city. I was in a section of Baltimore, Maryland, where Freddie Gray was killed. And in that community, the unemployment rate was somewhere near 50%. You didn't see a whole lot of men in that community, as many of them were in jail. Many of the buildings in that community were boarded up. There was not a grocery store in that building where somebody could buy fresh produce or meat. And there was not a bank branch in that community. People had to go to payday lenders and get ripped off in order to cash a check. I was in Detroit, Michigan, listening to teachers telling me that the public school system there was being destroyed. And today I met with some people here in Albany who talked about the incredibly high rate of poverty in the African American community. And what the African American community is asking me is, how does it happen that we could spend trillions of dollars on a war in Iraq that we never should have gotten into? How does it happen that we could give billions of dollars in tax breaks to the wealthiest people in this country, but supposedly we don't have the resources to rebuild inner cities in America? Brothers and sisters, if we make it to the White House, we are going to change our national priorities. drinking water. We're going to rebuild our roads and our bridges and our rail system. And not only will that improve the lives of our people, that type of investment will create.
I work here. Yeah.
You didn't want it, did you? That's a lot of work.